Why do people play Overwatch? What pulls them in and what keeps them playing? Before tackling why people play Overwatch, I'd like to take a step back and ask, why do people play multiplayer games to begin with? Specifically multiplayer player versus player games. And I believe there are three main reasons why people play these multiplayer games. And the first reason is that each game is different. And you really just have an almost infinite amount of games you can play. Whereas in a game like chess, there are more potential games than there are atoms in the universe. In games like Overwatch, there are so many potential games that just they're not the same. They're not the same. And so you get that feeling of novelty where things are always new while at the same time familiarity while things are always recognizable. Secondly, is that you're always learning. You know what? Learning is fun. When you're learning about something that you enjoy, it is a joy to learn about it. Whether it be researching a video game before you buy it, or a book, or a movie, or anything. If you enjoy it, it is great knowing more about it. These games give you such a chance to just keep learning and learning continuously. And just being able to learn about something you love more and more is incredible. And the third is that multiplayer games are social. You get to interact with other people, and this can be anywhere on a spectrum. Maybe you care a lot about the social side, and maybe you don't care so much about it. Sometimes it's nice just to be around people, even if you aren't particularly talking to them or interacting with them, just kind of being with somebody is nice to have occasionally. Or you could be on the exact opposite side of it, where the game is just a vehicle for your social interaction, where the goal really is to talk with your friends, randoms, whoever, but the game's really just kind of a vehicle to get you there, someone to pull you together. And you can be either one of those extremes, even farther, or anywhere in between. So this is why I believe people play multiplayer player versus player games. It's because each match is different, gives you a near infinite ability to learn, and then a big social aspect behind it. And the great thing about these different parts is that they feed into each other. With each game being different, this pushes you to tackle new scenarios, which gives you room to learn. Whereas when you learn more about the game, your relationship with the game itself changes. And with each game being different, gives you more points of discussion, whether it be inside the game with making different strategies, or outside the game, telling your friends about whatever hijinks you got up to. And for each person, any of these reasons can be more or less important for them, but I do believe these are the three foundational reasons for why people play multiplayer PvP games. So now going from multiplayer games to Overwatch, well, why do people play Overwatch? I think the first and most defining feature of Overwatch is the heroes. Easily the heroes. Oh, the heroes in this game are so incredibly diverse and have such thematic identity. Their character design speaks so much about who they are and what they do, and this allows you to form a connection with them or be able to embody their character for a time, whether it be a cyborg ninja or a giant German crushing machine. From the official art of Overwatch book, the first sentence of the first chapter says, "In Overwatch, heroes are everything. They are the game's identity, the expression of its core themes and values. Every character has a unique backstory, visual style, and personality. The fact that no two of them look or act the same is the very essence of Overwatch's design philosophy." And I could not agree more. With each character being so meticulously crafted, not only thematically and visually, but also in the gameplay. Where one game you could be playing as Genji and wall climbing and dashing around and moving in ways no other character really can. In another game you might be playing Reinhardt, where you're trying to bait out the enemy's earth shatter while being able to maintain and use your own. Each character has so much depth in them, it just makes each game incredibly different. You play a different character, you're almost playing a different game. People on your team are playing different characters. It's different. People on the enemy team are playing characters. You're playing those characters differently, different objectives, different maps. Every game is incredibly different. Even say completely same team compositions. Stuff like having an enemy Widowmaker that is really good really changes how you approach any given spot on the map. And with each hero, there is so much there to learn. So much room to be able to sink your teeth into. Being able to learn what scenarios they work well in, how to work around situations where they don't, how to complement your team, how to be a detriment to the enemy team. Because each character is so distinct, it has created such a community that people have taken these characters beyond the normal game, whether it be with fan art, cosplay, music, or more. And there is just so much Overwatch content out there that is outside the game. The second thing that I think that really distinguishes Overwatch is the team play. With all the characters being so different, people do not have the same job in the game. They do not have the same objective. And while in most player versus player shooters, everyone really has the same job, where you might have this and this different ability, but it comes down to what you're trying to do is you're trying to shoot the enemy probably in the head, because it does more damage. In Overwatch, that's not really true. While yes, you're trying to defeat the enemy team, and if you're playing, say, McCree, yes, your objective is to shoot the enemy and hopefully in the head. But if you're playing Reinhardt, your job is definitely not to just shoot the enemy, and you're never really aiming for the head. If you're playing Zarya, you never get a damage bonus from hitting them in the head. If you're playing Mercy, you're probably not shooting at the enemy much at all. And because each one's job is different, it's not about the one person carrying their team to victory, it's about the team accomplishing something together. And man, when it hits, it hits. It is a diamond souffle of quesadillas on chicken Alfredo on a Wednesday night. It is just exactly the thing. It is incomparable when everyone is just moving of one mind, soul, and body. And it does not always happen, but when it does, it just could not be sweeter. And the team play feeds into all three areas again. Each game is different because of how your team is playing. How does your team go about accomplishing their goal? How do you mesh together? And also, it adds a whole other dimension of learning, where not only are you learning your character and how do they mix and match with all these other characters, you're learning how do I interact with my team? What other ways can our team accomplish our goals? And then it also feeds into social, because you're working as a team is so important. Being social is important. Being able to talk with your team, being able to communicate. You don't always have to talk with them, but just being able to feel out, where are we going? What are we doing? Let's be on the same page. And with all three pieces of why I think people play multiplayer, player versus player games, Overwatch just knocks all three of them out of the park. Each game being incredibly different. There being so much to learn, and there being so much social space in there, whether it be talking with your team in-game or even outside the game with the massive community that is created. Overwatch does an incredible job with all three of these areas, and this is why I believe people play Overwatch.